Hello, everybody. We will be having a break on Sunday. For 6 days, we'll continue like this every week. Sunday, there would be a break so that more and more questions are collected and incorporated for the session of Monday as such. So, in this manner, we'll continue and we'll have new innovative programs also. But let's continue with the questions of the day. Consider the following statement. First question. Indian Meteorological Department, that's IMD, categorizes cyclones on the basis of wind speed. In case of cyclone Fengal, the storm stayed stationary after landfall. And Doppler radar used for tracking cyclones uses microwave signals. In case of anticyclone, the rotation of air is in the anti-clockwise direction, whereas it is just the reverse in case of cyclonic formation. How many of the above mentioned statements are correct? See, how many of the above mentioned statements are correct? You have to select that. And as far as the correct statement is concerned, first statement is definitely correct. Second is also correct. Third is also correct, but fourth is just the reverse. In case of anticyclone, the rotation of air would be always in a clockwise direction, whereas in the case of cyclonic formation, it would be in an anti-clockwise direction as such. Now, IMD classifies cyclones on the basis of wind speed, and the second statement is that when cyclone Fengal had a landfall, it stayed stationary because if you look at the intensity of the cyclone, intensity of the cyclone is not very high. It's not the wind speed was very high, but the level of damage was more. In Tamil Nadu, 13 people died. Why? Because it remained stationary for a longer period of time after the. Generally, what happens when landfall occurs, the cyclone weakens. But this was not in the case of Fengal. It stayed stationary, and that was the reason why it was responsible for damage as such. And if you talk about that, how the IMD classification stands, if the speed of the cyclonic formation is, if the speed of the wind is less than 31 kilometer per hour, it would be called as low pressure area. And do remember that each and every low pressure area surrounded by a high pressure area cannot be classified as cyclone. So it is based on what? It is based on the wind speed as such. 31 to 49 kilometer per hour, it's depression. 50 to 61 kilometer per hour, it's deep depression. 62 to 88 kilometer per hour, cyclonic formation. 89 to 117, severe cyclonic formation. And 118 to 221, very severe cyclone. Above 222 kilometer per hour, super cyclone. So super cyclone struck the coast of Odisha earlier. And there's a term also which is called as megacyclone. So megacyclonic formation takes place when vortices of two cyclones combine with one another and move as a single vortex. This effect is called as what? It's called as Fujiwara effect. Fujiwara effect. And as far as Fengal is concerned, the speed of the wind was 75 to 95 kilometers per hour. Doppler radar is used for tracking the cyclonic formations, and Doppler radar in India has been established at Paradip port and also Gopalpur port of Odisha. See, cyclones are for cyclonic formation. We use standard operation procedure, which consists of what? It consists of satellite component to study the cyclone which is far away in the sea. Then we use the radar component. Radar component includes the Doppler radar. It also includes the floating radar buoys. And also when the cyclonic formation is going to strike the coastal areas, then the synoptic component would be used, which is a computer model which has a database of all mid-latitudinal depressions as such. So this is about first question. Let's see the second question as such. Which one of the following statement is incorrect? Pragati, proactive governance and timely implementation, is a digital initiative of the government to accelerate major infrastructure projects. That's the first statement. Pragati is based on Swagat, a digital platform started by Madhya Pradesh to address people grievances. PM Gati Sakti should be separated. PM Gati Shakti provides for geospatial planning tools that help optimize infrastructure design and reduce adverse environmental impact. And Parivesh has streamlined environmental clearance. So, which one of the following statement is incorrect? See, the incorrect statement is B. Because Pragati is based on definitely Swagat, but this was not started by Madhya Pradesh government. It was started by Gujarat. And was started by Gujarat when the Prime Minister, respected Prime Minister, was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. To address people grievances as such, Pragati was started in the year 2015. So you ask me why then how it becomes a question of current affairs. Let me tell you. It was started in the year 2015. And this initiative, this digital initiative, is responsible for establishment of 340 infrastructure projects in India. Projects in India with the investment of more than 200 billion. So that has been done. For example, the Chenab Bridge, which is the world's highest bridge, has been established by this digital initiative. So there are many examples. But do remember that now PM Gati Shakti also is not of this year, dates back to 2021. But remember one thing, that why Pragati is in news. Pragati is in news because the Oxford University Business School and also the Gates Foundation, they conducted a case study. And the case study was on Pragati, the digital platform, that how political leadership would be utilizing digital platforms to overcome the bottlenecks in infrastructure development. This was published by IIM Bangalore. So that's why it is in news. And you can see the article in Indian Express on Pragati, and a question has been framed on this. Clear? Let's see the next question. Consider the following statement and select the correct quote. La Nina event usually brings copious rains, that is excessive rains, colder than normal winter in India. India is witnessing elevated food inflammation, in which vegetable inflammation may end with the normal winter season arrivals. Temperature enhancement in the month of March is affecting grain formation and filling of wheat. See, inflation is directly connected now. Food inflammation is directly, one can say, is connected to climate change. Why? Because we are noticing very high temperature spikes in March, in the month of March. And this definitely is affecting the food grain and the filling of wheat, because of which wheat production has lowered. Earlier it was very high, but now wheat production has lowered. And certainly, if suppose with India is witnessing elevated vegetable inflammation can end. If suppose a normal winter season is there, then it would be responsible for reducing vegetable inflammation. Vegetable inflammation is a part of the retail food inflation as such. So it may end. But one thing is very clear, that uncertainty over rainfall and temperature enhancement is responsible for the elevated food inflation that we have. And as far as the statements are concerned, all the three statements are correct. Nothing is wrong in this. Nothing is wrong. Let's see the next question as such. Consider the following statements. Delhi government had formulated earlier a plan with IIT Kanpur to explore cloud seeding for reducing air pollution in Delhi. Cloud seeding works only when there is enough pre-existing clouds. Silver iodide, potassium iodide, dry ice, urea compounds, and sodium chloride can be used for cloud seeding. How many of the above mentioned statements are correct? See, the statements which are correct are all three. It was not this year, but last year that Delhi government tried to explore a plan with IIT Kanpur for cloud seeding over Delhi so that the air pollution can be reduced. When you have rainfalls, the pollution would be reducing. But then there were hurdles. The clearances were not given by the Ministry of Home Affairs and also the Civil Aviation Ministry. Neither the Ministry of Defense gave them, because cloud seeding, wherever it is conducted, cloud seeding, in this case, it is for reducing air pollution that we are talking about. But cloud seeding can be conducted for wildfires also. Cloud seeding can be conducted for droughts also. And there are two main mechanisms. There are cannons which are used for sprinkling, pumping salts into the sky, or it can be by airplanes, it can be done. These salts, they provide the extra nuclei for cloud formation, because of which rainfall can take place. It's not that each and every cloud. See, whenever there would be a, remember one more thing. If low-lying clouds are there, more and more low-lying clouds are there, they perform albedo phenomena and they reduce the adverse impact of global warming too. But if high-ranging clouds like cirrus clouds are there, they would be responsible for enhancing the adverse impact of global warming. Why? Because they absorb more and more of infrared radiation. Let's see the last question. Now, I told you that we would be discussing species, biodiversity, because there's a troublesome area in preliminary examination. Consider the following characteristic, not the statements. So, just like UPSC, a question has been framed. Omnivorous, gliding, dual, patagium. How many of the above mentioned characteristic can be found in flying squirrel? See, in India, we have a species of flying squirrel which is called as Namdhapa flying squirrel. Namdhapa flying squirrel was sighted in the year 1981, and after 42 years it was again sighted last year. And this is certainly endemic in Arunachal Pradesh only. But when you talk about first characteristic, omnivorous, these flying squirrels, they feed upon seeds, flowers, then also the sap, but they also feed upon insects, eggs of the birds. And flying squirrels are not completely flying in nature. Just like birds or bats, they cannot fly. They would be gliding from one tree to another tree. And they glide with the help of what? With the help of patagium. Patagium is a fur skin which is from wrist to ankle, and this helps in the gliding of these squirrels. So this is correct. This is also correct, and they are not diurnal. They are nocturnal in nature. They would be active during night time. So this is incorrect, and 3 would be correct. So we can see that how many of the characteristic. See, this is for today. Today we take rest for one day, and Monday onwards again we'll continue with questions of the day. And that does not mean that the news of Sunday won't be covered up. News of Sunday would be covered up on Monday along with the news of Monday. Thank you so much.